If you love a woman who has lost her husband, and she has also buried a child, you may feel completely helpless. You don't know what to say. You're afraid of saying the wrong thing. You're scared that if you bring it up, you'll make it worse. So sometimes you say nothing. Today we're talking about how to support a widow who is carrying layered grief without trying to fix her, rescue her, or silence her. Because she doesn't need a hero. She needs an anchor. As always, this episode is dedicated to my husband, Mel. Mel was a wild man. We called him Wild Turkey, and he had a steady presence. He didn't rush emotion. He was filled deeply with emotions and loved to express them. He was there when you needed his words. He was there when you didn't know you needed him. His hugs were healing. That's the energy this episode carries. Steady, selfless love. Welcome to the Dead Truth Podcast, where we talk about grief, loss, and widowhood in all its forms. I'm your host, Jen, and I'm so glad you are here. This episode is part 2 of our layered grief conversation. I didn't know I was going to create a part 2, but this particular type of grief called for it. The subject of layered grief is being discussed extensively in the comments on the Dead Truth Facebook page, so I knew this was definitely something to talk about. In the last episode, we spoke directly to the widow carrying layered grief. The most common layered grief I am seeing is the woman who has lost her spouse and a child or children. We named what that stacking of loss does to a person. It changes their identity, how they look at themselves, the guilt that is woven into such cumulative loss, the way it can shake your faith or bring you closer to it, and the daily survival, finding a reason to keep going. Today, we're widening the circle even more, because layered grief doesn't just affect the woman holding it, it affects everyone around her. And if you love her, this conversation matters. I'm speaking to the friends, the siblings, the parents, the children, the partners, the coworkers, the faith communities, the ones who want to stay, but don't always know how. This episode is for you. A quick disclaimer, I'm speaking from lived experience from widowhood, from survival, but I am not a licensed therapist or counselor. This podcast is a companion, not a replacement for a licensed professional. In this episode, I will discuss widowhood and child loss. If you are carrying these losses yourself, please listen gently. And if you're supporting someone in deep crisis, remember, presence matters, but professional support may also be necessary for anyone who may need it, including you. You are not meant to do this alone either. So how do you understand what she is carrying? If she is a widow who has also lost a child, she is carrying a level of layered grief in its deepest form. That means she has lost her spouse and she has lost a child. She has lost the future she imagined. She may have lost financial stability. She may have lost parts of her identity. This is not double sadness. It is compounded trauma. Her nervous system has endured repeated shock that is going to continue for quite some time, if not always throughout her life. So if she seems distant, overwhelmed, irritable, numb, exhausted, possibly hyper alert, it is not personal. It is protective. Layered grief rewires the body for survival. And especially if she is verbalizing these feelings to you, it is so important to listen. Losing both a spouse and a child is an unimaginable amount of change. Let's gently clear some landmines. By landmines, I mean knowing what not to say to someone who is grieving. We'll get these out of the way first. Avoid saying these phrases, and I know it's what many people say, but believe me, it's not what a grieving person wants to be told. Here it goes. Have you heard someone say, everything happens for a reason? Ugh. I want to know what reason seems logical. There just isn't a good reason why her husband and child are both gone. How about, at least you still have, fill in the blank. More children? Many years ahead of you to remarry? None of that. Don't say it. How about they're in a better place? No matter what your belief system is, where you think we go once we leave the earth may or may not be what she believes. The only better place for her spouse and child to be is here with her. How about you're so strong? Normally, you would want to be known as a strong person. But really, during this time, strength is not at the top of your personal traits list. Feeling sad is all she has room for. And the last one, time heals. That phrase is a tricky one. Yes, we all know from experience in life, whether it's a loved one passing away, a relationship breakup, or a disagreement with a friend, that time does heal. In the sense that the more time passes, the situation doesn't seem as big, or a person becomes a little more balanced in their grief journey. But when we are talking about a person, a widow who is experiencing layered grief or any type of grief, time heals means looking into the future. As time passes, the years pass. Healing is supposed to happen. But for her, she doesn't want to look into the future. She is living in this moment of pain and emptiness. She may also be living in the past with memories of sleeping next to her husband or holding her child's hand. Time heals is something that she can't connect with right now. Just remember, all of these statements attempt to fix something in a moment that cannot be fixed. And not to sound harsh, but here's a truth drop. Please do not compare losses. Do not rank them. Do not say which one you think must hurt more. There is no hierarchy in compounded grief. She misses them both, often at the same time. Her heart is enduring so much. The truth is, you don't need a speech. You don't need a well-rehearsed conversation. Phrases you can say that are simple and without pressure are, I don't know what to say, but I'm here. Or, this is so unfair. Another is, you don't have to be strong with me, because she may feel that she has to behave in a certain way, and she must show strength and not look weak. She may not want you to worry about her. Reassure her that strength is not an option at this moment. Survival is. Or another phrase that is so powerful is, tell me about him, or tell me about them. This phrase matters. I had a friend I worked with who didn't know Mel very well speak that phrase to me a few months after Mel passed. Nobody had ever said that to me before. It surprised me. It made me take a step back. It was so powerful because I felt like many people were avoiding me, so they didn't have to think of what to say to me. It was awkward for people. They may be thinking, what if I mention his name? What if she cries? What do I do? But I loved talking about Mel. It's what kept me going in those early months. And actually, it still does. If you want to see me smile, just ask anything about him. When my friends simply said, "Tell me about him," and for her to sit with me and want to hear anything I wanted to talk about, it was the comfort I so desperately needed. I remember crying so much in that moment, out of joy and sadness, because she saw me. She knew I was struggling terribly. She knew what I needed. I'm talking about you, Amy. Thank you for that moment, sis. I'll always remember it. The reason that matters is because silence can hurt. Avoiding a widow who is grieving because you don't know what to say, well, for her, it can feel like being erased. But asking about her loved ones, asking honors them. It honors her. If she wants to talk, listen. And if she doesn't, sit. Just be there with her. This is more powerful than you know. So what does a steady, consistent grief supporter who loves someone grieving look like? They look like a person who checks in months later and stays consistent. A person who shows up without fanfare. They don't need to be thanked because they just want to be there. And a person who can sit in silence without feeling the need to fill it. Sometimes no words, just being present is exactly what is needed that day. Or just offering specific help. So instead of, "Let me know if you need anything," try, "I'm bringing dinner on Thursday. I'll drive you to that appointment. I'm mowing your lawn this weekend." Layered grief creates cognitive overload. Decision-making becomes exhausting. When grieving, even simple things like deciding if you want to eat or not usually turns into not eating. Because the act of deciding can take everything she has. So make support simple. Widowing can be one wild wave after another. She may laugh one day and crumble the next. She may seem better and then spiral on a random Tuesday. That is not instability. That is grief behaving normally. Your role is not to regulate her feelings. Your role is to not panic when feelings, no matter what they are, show up. Stay calm, stay grounded, stay. And real quick, here are some extra little nuggets that may be helpful. They are just suggestions, but from experience, say them at your own risk. Do not push dating conversations. Definitely don't say, "It's time to move forward," or "He'd want you to be happy." She may not be ready. Some women are, and some aren't. The thought of dating can be daunting. Do not push spiritual interpretations. Do not push tender mercies or silver linings. I know those are phrases we all hear, but they are not helpful. Layered grief often shakes belief systems. If she leans into faith, definitely support that gently. If she questions everything, don't correct her. This is not the time to debate theology. This is not the time to say, "God needed another angel." Again, I know it seems helpful, but it's the time to just be there for her. You're not trying to fix her. Just let her unfold in her own way and feel all the feels. If you feel helpless and truly don't know how to support, I get it. I have not always known how to support someone fully. I look back throughout my life and analyzed how I have supported those in grief. Honestly, I'm ashamed of myself. I see how better I could have been in comforting those who experienced loss before I did. You may feel scared, awkward, emotionally tired. You may be grieving those same loved ones. All your feelings are valid. Choosing to support another while you're grieving is, well, being an amazing human. Someone who recognizes when someone is in need. But just don't disappear from her without explanation. Consistency matters more than perfection. You don't need eloquence. You need steadiness. If she trusts you enough to show you both griefs, that is sacred. Handle it gently. You don't need to fix her, because you cannot fix this, but you can reduce her isolation. And sometimes for her, that is the difference between surviving and unraveling. If you love a widow who has also lost a child, please stay. Stay when she's quiet. Stay when she's angry. Stay when she's numb. Steady, not savior. We tell the truth here, even when it's heavy, especially when it's heavy. And thank you for loving someone enough to support them in their grief. It means to them everything. If this episode resonated with you, please share it with someone who may need it. The Dead Truth is also on Facebook and Instagram, where your loved one will find widow-to-widow conversations, support with layered grief, and connections with those who know her pain. It can be another tool in her grief toolbox. Until next time, take care of your heart, your mind, your body, and just do your best. And remember, in grief and in life, the truth always finds its way to the surface. That's the dead truth.